There you go. That's who is that?
Paul Tiger Tail.
I said, who is this? He held it up. I thought, what's that? I couldn't read it. You big fat bangles in the way.
Paul Tiger Tail.
Listen, if, like me, you haven't been getting enough of Richard Wilson in your life, not only can we help you right now, also get off your lazy backside and get down to the New Ambassadors Theatre in London, where until mid-June you can see Richard in the comedy Whipping It Up. Isn't that right, Richard?
Correct.
Get yourself down there. I've heard great things about this, and unlike the piece of Pinter that's on the West End, people come out knowing what it was all about. And
they know what it's all about, and it's very, very, very funny, and it's got a great cast. And
it's a political satire, isn't it, of course?
It's a political satire. The idea is that the Conservatives win the next election by 3 votes, which of course they won't. But
Richard, you don't know.
Yes, I do.
You think so? You think Labour will get back in?
Yeah, of course.
I'm not sure. I'm not so sure anymore.
Oh, well, we can discuss that.
Well, let's never mind discussing it. Let's arm wrestle for this. I think I might still beat you. I'm not certain, but I might still.
Probably.
So the Conservatives win by a tiny margin.
Yes, and so of course the whips become very important. I play a Conservative chief whip. And our job becomes crucial. Of course, the thing about the Labour Party was they had such a huge majority, they didn't need whips virtually. But
so
now
the whips got flabby. They didn't really have to.
Whips got flabby. So this is about whipping.
So the whips essentially bully. They bully the MPs to vote and make sure they vote in the right direction.
They would say that they were actually look after their flock, but they actually bully them and kick them. And
So what a great
physical violence is not entirely unknown. No,
seriously,
no. There is a story. There's someone who was headbutted once. But
well, that would make you vote. I mean, I hadn't really seen you pointing to now, but now with the blood obscuring my vision, I can see that you've thought this through. That's quite remarkable. But what I would have thought a great part for you, a great part to have.
It's a great part. Steve Thompson has done a great job. It lets you into the whip's office as well. I mean, a lot of people wouldn't want to go into the whip's office, but it's a job that's very interesting.
It must attract a certain sort of person, I would have thought, the whippery.
Yeah, the whippery, yes. Well, I think there is a sort of SM touch to it.
Did you get to meet any genuine whips?
Oh, lots of whips.
In the preparation?
Yes, we met a lot of Conservative whips, including the Chief Whip. They let us into their offices.
The Chief Whip?
Which is very unusual. And he's got a whip in his office.
Of course he has.
Of course he has.
What else? I bet every year someone gives him something with a whip on for Christmas. We saw this, we thought of you, not another whip-based
Yeah, we
gift.
went to see the whips. Giles Brandreth, he was an ex-whip. He came and spoke to us at length.
That's a horrible thing to have to do for your work. Go and spend an afternoon with Giles. He's grown out of the jumpers, I believe, hasn't he?
No jumpers in sight.
Yeah.
No, he's very good.
Whip.
Very funny.
How does whipping work then? They just basically, is there a party line they have to adhere to?
Yes, I mean, once you become a whip, you must support the party absolutely down the line. There's no divergence. You can't comment. You can't criticise.
It's a bit like being in the armed forces, whereby if you're a general, you can't criticise those above you, or major, you have to go.
And each whip has got a little posse of MPs he looks after, and he makes sure they toe the line.
They stay in line, regardless of what their local constituents seem to want or care for.
Sometimes, yes. And of course, getting into the whip's office is a step in the ladder.
Yeah.
You're going up
towards possibly being a backbencher or a frontbencher.
Yeah.
The play, how long is the play? Let me ask you that. I know it might seem like not the kind of question that the thespians we want to deal with, but it's quite an important factor for me when buying tickets.
It's 50 minutes the first half and 51 minutes the second half.
That's all right. That's doable.
Yeah, that's doable. You can do it, Jonathan.
Yeah.
And you'll understand it.
I'm looking forward to it now then, because the entertainers on
You
the
won't
moment,
come, I know.
I might come.
You might.
I've got to go see Equus this week, unfortunately, so I'm sure that'll be great, but on the day when I know
you should be coming to see new writing.
I should go. Well, I tell you what, Andy.
Okay.
You be
Let's
my
take a
taster.
bet.
You go along for me.
I'd like to go and see it.
All right.
No,
I'll get you tickets.
Thank you, Richard.
And then
50-50, I like.
I tell you what, if you come, I'll take you out to the Ivy afterwards.
Oh, that's blown the deal then. I didn't know I'd offer you favours. I'll buy my own tickets. But the entertainers on the moment, which I love the sound of, 'cause it's meant to be an incredible performance, but it's so long. There's 2 intermissions.
Oh, God, it's a long, long play.
Hey, I like this. What we're doing is we're getting one actor to come on and criticise other performances, so they go and see
I'm
yours.
not criticising the performance. I saw him do a reading of it at the Royal Court, and it was wonderful.
I've heard
but it's
stunning.
long, Jonathan.
Yeah,
it's
too long.
long,
for me.
long.
Look, I'm not a young man anymore. Who knows what could happen?
Well, there you are.
You could lose me halfway through the third act. I'd never know how
Well, I
to
tell you what, you come, if you like to leave in the interval, I won't be upset.
Richard, what's the difference between a good night for you on stage and a bad night? When do you know you've hit your mark and it's working?
It's fine. We're talking about this all the time.
It's a strange thing, isn't it?
It's a strange thing. The chemistry of the audience is extraordinary.
Yeah, and that's an important factor for you, isn't it?
Oh, hugely. I mean, if you've got a really good audience, you just you bond with them. And it
becomes a journey you all go on.
And it's wonderful. And it's so exciting. Now, it doesn't happen every single night, I'm afraid. But when it happens, it's brilliant. Now, we had a very big house in the night before last. Big, nearly full. But they didn't want to know us.
And that weird,
somehow.
That is weird sometimes, isn't it? Well, the night I went to see The Dumb Waiter, I think the audience let the performers down a little bit. Because we were all, well, A, we were a bit stupid, but also I got the feeling that we didn't quite get behind it from the beginning.
Yeah.
And I wonder whether my presence there actually hindered that, because there was quite a large party of school children who were looking to me for my reaction.
They were like that,
yeah, and that might have upset the balance a little bit.
Well, maybe you better not come to my play then.
Or wear a mask.
Wear a mask.
Yeah, I'll come along
Wear
wearing
a hat.
Oh, people love that at the theatre, don't they? I come along wearing a bear skin.
Well, not a big tall one, a small one.
Just a little cap. Yeah, but then they'll say, is that you wearing the cap?
A bonnet, this is here in Scotland.
Is it, and do you know when you're going to get a laugh? Are there certain key moments? I remember seeing Art, which we both saw several times.
We did,
because we had any number of friends in there. And there were certain key points. There was one particular speech which you knew was a huge audience pleaser.
There are surefire ones. But what we say is that really, if we are doing it properly, we should get different laughs every night.
That's true, of course. Because
and that's what we try and do. We try not to worry about the laughs. The danger is if you come on and they're not doing terribly well, you start to think, that didn't go very well. When you shouldn't be thinking about that. You should be moving forward, keeping in the moment.
In my acting, I found staying in the moment. What are you laughing at? I was very good.
You've got to stay in the moment. And
when I did in London University, my performance
not
was
Wiglaf
in Beowulf was it was very well.
You've been in. That's all you ever mentioned.
Is that the only thing he mentioned?
Here's the thing.
Wiglaf,
End on a high. End on a high.
What's Wiglaf?
Wiglaf was Beowulf's buddy.
Yeah.
He went off for a few years.
Big part?
Yeah, it was big enough.
Richard asking about his review. It'll be the Scotsman.
Tell me about your review in the Scotsman.
The growing maturity of Wiglaf is well portrayed.
Is that all?
Yes. What do you mean is that all?
Didn't even mention his name.
All I had to use to illustrate my growing maturity was some talcum powder I put on my head as I went round the back to get in through the front door, because I've been away for 20 years. And more often than not, Americans were leaving us. I said, we're terribly sorry, we're double booked. I suggest use it. Keep some talcum powder handy. If ever you have to age,
keep it in my kit.
Dust it off your shoulders first, though, because it just looks like you've got dad one. Let's bung some music on, shall we?
We'll play the Comic Relief single, because the Proclaimers are coming up. We've been handed it.
All right, and I noticed in the background Ricky Gervais is in here as well, so we'll get him in to talk about his tireless devotion to charity.
He's back from Africa.
He's constantly... He's back from Africa, and look at the tan on it.
Yes, they did well, didn't they? Got a holiday out of it.
A gypsy with a tan. You can't beat that look, can you? Okay, I'm not being racist. All right, this is the Proclaimer. No, is this the one? This is
Proclaimers with Brian Potter and Andy Pipkin.
That's great. That's a great party record. That's out for Monday, and of course, almost every single penny goes to Comic Relief. I think Wogan gets a halfpence in every pound, but apart from that, that's unfair and silly.
That's unfair.
Why did you say that, Richard? Now, Richard Wilson is with us. He's a Scottish gentleman.
Great. Are you telling me that?
I'm testing you now.
Testing.
But he received an OBE from Prince Charles a few years ago.
No, not from Prince Charles.
Did you get it from the Queen?
No, I didn't go to the...
Where did you get it from?
I got it at the National Theatre.
That doesn't count.
Because I was working.
That doesn't count. That's not a real one.
It's not a real one.
That's not a real one. If you don't go to the palace, it's not a real one.
He's working.
Well, I had a party and the Lord Lieutenant came and gave it to me.
Yeah, he didn't give it. That's not the proper one. Did you not? Did you not? There's
a theatre one.
There's a little card that comes that says, unless this was given to you by Prince Charles or the Queen, it doesn't count. That's it. You've been... Noel Edmonds was filming that. That was a gotcha. Do you ever get your OBE out? Do you ever wear your OBE?
No.
Do you ever use OBE on your notehead?
Well, I got a piece of one bit of paper that if I'm asking for money for some charity,
you use the OBE.
I use the OBE.
You turn the screws with the old OBE.
Really, because I was sitting so many boards and things.
It kind of counts in those.
Well, I think so.
Yeah, but it's also it's nice to be rewarded for your contribution to British society, Richard.
Yeah, I mean, it took me a long while to decide whether to accept it or not. I'm not sure.
And now you look back at that period of mulling over, of contemplation, of decision. Do you consider it wasted time? Just say yes.
Yes.
That's the government message almost. Just say yes. No one cares. Richard is currently to be found on stage here in London and it's got some great reviews. I was looking at the reviews they've tacked on this thing here. Lynn Gardner in The Guardian says this is mischievous, good-humoured poke rather than a full assault, but it gets the combination of sweltering panic and smooth one-liners is delicious. That's whipping it up at the New Ambassadors Theatre. It's a political satire, which you don't see that much of anymore, do you really?
Very little. In the theatre.
Is it based specifically specifically on the current government and opposition party, or is it a kind of totally fictitious?
David Cameron's name is never mentioned, but his picture is on the wall and his birthday is mentioned.
So it's possibly there might be a link.
Well, if they're going to win the next election, which, as I repeat, they certainly will not.
We've got that arm wrestling challenge coming up.
The majority will probably be very, very small.
Yeah.
So there is a sort of inkling of truth there.
Have you met Gordon Brown?
Oh, yes.
And what
I'm supporting Gordon Brown.
I've heard he's a very charismatic man in the room, but he's not as kind of media, what's the word, kind of not well-versed, but he's not as
media smarmy.
Savvy.
That's the way smarmy works. He's not as kind of immediate on screen as Mr. Blair is, of course. So that works against him in the modern age.
But I think the Labour Party at the moment needs a bit of gravitas at the head. I think we need a leader who's got a bit of intellectual muscle.
Well, as you know, my BBC contract prohibits me from involved in the... Why are you laughing? BBC, I can't do politics, but Gordon will do, I guess.
You can still come and see the play, of course.
Where's Gordon from initially?
He's up from Dundee way, isn't he?
Dundee's way up high, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is Greenock higher than that or lower than that?
No, oh, Jonathan, for God's sake.
I don't know, it's Scotland.
It's the other coast. It's Greenock's west coast. But at least you know where I come from.
I know you come from Greenock, but is it higher or lower? You still haven't answered
It's
my
lower.
question. Okay,
Greenock's almost in England.
This is a new game we call regional dolly dealers. All right, I go, is it higher or lower, me lovelies? That was an impersonation for you there, Richard.
Very good. Who was it?
Very good. Why I order. As I said, Richard Wilson is to be found in Whipping It Up, which does sound good, and despite the fact that I rarely go to this kind of thing, and my last exposure to theatre made me feel physically ill, I am going to go down and see you at the New Ambassadors Theatre.
There you are.
Where's the best place to sit if you get
in this circle? I'll get you the best seats.
So up high in the circle?
Just it's a very small, intimate theatre.
If I need to take a phone call during it, what kind of ringtone bothers you the least when you're performing?
I know you wouldn't do that to me.
That's the one that upsets you the most?
That's really... I haven't had to deal with it yet.
Yeah. Well, that's my wife's greatest fear. She'll not only check and double check, she'll often take her battery out of my phone and her phone. Ever since she heard about Richard Griffiths during the History Boys, he not only picked someone out, he made them leave, and then the entire audience gave them a round of applause for kicking him out. So
that's right. To
leave in shame while you're being applauded for leaving, that's a terrible thing.
Because sometimes the phone rings and they start talking. They answer it.
But surely the fault lies there with the play, doesn't it? Because if they're not so concerned about it, wasn't that?
Good point.
Yeah, not much really. No, it's not very good.
Good point.
I think it's Penna. Can't understand it. Richard, how lovely to see you again.
Very nice to see you, Jonathan.
Good luck with the play. Doesn't sound like you need it, but it sounds very, very good indeed. And it's on until 16th of June. After that, do you know what you're up to?
Holiday.
A little bit of a break.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you'll be advising Gordon Brown, no doubt.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If he gets in.
He will.
We should have that arm wrestling, come on. I don't know whether I mind who gets in anymore, frankly. I can't tell the difference, really. Can you?
It's not been
Not
drawn
at the moment.
Not at the moment.
No, Richard, lovely to see you again. Thanks so much for coming in. Take care.
Cheers.